Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Steel City Underground What the Football podcast. It is week 17, or we just finished week 17. My name is Terry Fletcher. So I'm going to start right in with something that Mike Tomlin said, and we could lip read him on the TV. If you weren't that close to him or you didn't see it, go back and take a look at it. But he said Kenny effing Pickett when he came in after that game-winning drive. Remember, quarterback Kenny Pickett is the first rookie in NFL history to have a game-winning touchdown pass in the final minute in back-to-back games. So I know we have to keep it clean on here, but Kenny effing Pickett. I mean, it just doing it when we were celebrating Franco Harris and then doing it on a night when we're playing one of the biggest rivalries in history for the Steelers, the Ravens, and having to stay alive because we got some help this past week to keep our playoff chances alive. I realize some of you that are looking at playoffs and thinking, let's just take a knee. No, we need to not do that. We need to really see if we can get to postseason. We need some help. We need the Bills to beat the Patriots, and we need Miami to lose again. And we need to win our last game against the Browns. So if that can happen, then we are actually in postseason and would have a 9-8 record. And also Mike Tomlin would not again have a losing season in his 16th year. So I don't know about all of you, but I have watched that game 3 times now. They replayed it on NFL Network. I also record the game, and just to have that win, 16-13, I mean, we lost the last time by 2 points and after 3 interceptions. Well, I kind of call it 2.5 by Trubisky, and then just to come back this way and win the way we did, I am just seriously I'm beside myself. It was such a great game, a fun game to watch. And just listening to Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, and then at the end watching Najee Harris and just all he does to just make things fun, grabbing the mic and shouting out to everybody. And he's just a really, really fun guy. But, let's take a look around the league and see what else happened with the WTF, what the football. And it was really just, kind of a fun week to watch football. Things are getting closer, getting tighter. I know those of us that are still waiting to see what the plan is for the Bills and the Cincinnati game. Right now, it is not going to be played this week, they said. But with playoff implications, home field advantage implications, bye implications, I would think they're going to see what's going to happen in week 18, so this coming week of football, and then because it's really, the Chiefs, the Bills, and Cincinnati to figure out exactly, where their standing is. I think there's a possibility they could possibly replay that game, or could, continue that game on the wild card weekend, or we even have, they could push things up because we have a gap weekend as well. So I don't hold it out yet. You'll see, I know a lot of us on fantasy football are waiting to see what happens too, even though Yahoo kind of completed games as they were. I know people weren't happy about that. Remember, this is a billion-dollar industry, billions and billions of dollar industry. And that has to be taken into consideration. Even though we are sending all of our love and our prayers to Damar Hamlin, we absolutely, hearts go out to the family and to the player, and really hope he's on his way to recovery. We're seeing all positive signs, so that's a really good thing. But back to the business of football, we have to talk about, I know it's the kind of the elephant or the monkey in the room. Let's see what happened around the league other than that game, and see what happened as far as the WTF moments. So first of all, the Jets, oh boy, the Jets and Giants. The quarterback, Mike White, he could not have looked worse. He wilted under pressure, threw 2 interceptions, and just, it was a 23-6 loss to the Seahawks. And, based on his play along with Zach Wilson, it's pretty clear that the Jets are going to be back to square one coming in 2023 season. So sad, but true. Now, the Giants, on the other hand, they looked like they weren't going to get anywhere, and guess what? They are headed to the playoffs, so that's crazy. What about Aaron Rodgers? Well, he's not my favorite. I think he's overrated at this point in his career. Not before. Yes, he used to be a great player as far as his arm strength, all that. but he's still overrated for me. I mean, the last time he's been to the Super Bowl, even past the one game playoffs, was 2011. We're in 2023 now. I mean, do the math. So, but they won their game, and they basically are one victory away from clinching a playoff berth. So we'll see what happens there. Geno Smith, I don't know. I mean, I realize that they beat the Jets, and there's, it's kind of this Cinderella story with him in Seattle, especially as bad as Russell Wilson has played in Denver. But they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. They are not necessarily going to have a season where they're going to get to post-season, but NFC, you never know. There's a lot of things going on there. Carson Wentz, oh man, talk about a what the football losing moment for them. The Commanders decided to put him out there instead of letting Tyler Heineke, finish out the season since he's been out, and 3 interceptions, 24-10 loss to the Browns. It eliminated them from playoff contention. Wentz has only started 7 games this season, and now he's thrown multiple interceptions in 3 of those games. So who knows if he'll be there next year, but that wasn't a good optic for that team. Not really sure what's going on there. Now, obviously, we've got to go a little bit across the pond there to the Buccaneers. And, Tom Brady, 30-24 of the Panthers, which doesn't mean that they had an easy time of it. Obviously, defense wasn't able to stop the Panthers at some point. But Mike Evans had a day, absolutely had a day. And he is actually the AFC Player of the Week. And so no answers for him or Chris Godwin. They had 327 receiving yards combined there. So huge plays. They had strip sacks, so the defense came to play as well. And the Buccaneers may not be a great team, but they've got Tom Brady, which means they could be a threat in the playoffs now at 8-8. And good for them. I wish there was an 8-8 option in the AFC North. Let me tell you. But hey, we definitely could, if with some help, we could definitely get some help there. Now, looking over at the 49ers, okay, they keep calling this quarterback over there, and Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. He's not anymore. I mean, we have to stop calling him that. He can lead a comeback. He trailed by double digits for the first time after taking over the starting job from Jimmy Garoppolo, who, again, took it over from their first-round pick because of all these injuries. And so even though the defense over the 49ers didn't come up, didn't look great, they did come up big with some big plays. They had, Gibson, the offensive tackle's interception, Robbie Gould's game-winning kick. But they had a little bit of a scare there. 37-34 was Raiders that they were playing, and they benched Derek Carr. This is my WTF. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's one thing to bench him, but then to tell him not to even come around the team. I mean, he's already saying that he's looking for housing in Indianapolis. Apparently, he thinks he's going to go out there and get a job. Who knows? Maybe he will. I mean, they started with Phillip Rivers for a year, and then they tried with Carson Wentz, and now they're trying with, they went a little bit Jacoby Brissett until he went to the Browns, and now they went with Matt Ryan, and all 3 have been busts. These veteran quarterbacks that really should have retired. So who knows? Maybe he'll get something there. But it'll be interesting to see. I think that Jarrett Stidham, he did a respectable job. He did okay. I mean, they didn't win, but they came pretty close to it. So it was definitely a respectable job. So where are we right now as far as who clinched? Oh my goodness. So here is where we're at. So Chiefs, Bills, Bengals are, they've all clinched. And Jaguars, Chargers, Ravens, Patriots. So Chargers and Ravens both at 10-6. They're in. Jaguars, Patriots. Jaguars are in. Patriots are still trying to figure it out. If the Dolphins lose, they're out. If the Steelers lose, they're out. But if the Dolphins lose, the Steelers still have a chance that they can win. And we really are praying for the Bills to see if they can kick out the Patriots. Then we get in as the number 7 in there. So a lot of AFC playoff picture situation, and the NFC, Eagles, of course, but at not having their starting quarterback 2 weeks in a row, you can feel it because they've gone down to 13-3. 49ers are in. Vikings, I don't know what they're going to do in postseason because they look terrible this week. Talk about a what the football moment watching that. That was just absolutely horrible. Now, looking at Kansas City, it's interesting when you watch Kansas City, because if you've got Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you've got pretty much a chance to win right down to the last second. And he owns the Broncos. They won 27-24 over Denver, again, where you've got Russell Wilson playing, and he's 11-0 against the Broncos. But you're giving up points to the point where you're only winning by 3 points, and you're giving up a lot of points. It's not these close games that like the Steelers are having, 16-13 or 16-14. I mean, these are 20 plus points you're giving up. So I don't know what's going to happen to them postseason. I really think Buffalo's the one to keep an eye on. And Cincinnati has come from, behind. What were they? I think were they 2-6, or were they? I know that they had 4 losses. And so that definitely was crazy. So I want to circle back around to the Steelers, because I just love talking Steelers, especially after that last game and just what the football. First of all, I wish on some of the penalties that the refs can actually do a replay. When you have Cameron Hayward, who is one of the most upstanding, they call him dad on the team, upstanding guy, knows the rules, knows not to taunt, and he knows not to pull people off piles. And he was pulled down by one of the Ravens defenders, and he was just trying to get up off the pile, and they called that 15-yard for unsportsman, and that wasn't him. Even Minka Fitzpatrick said, "What were you doing out there?" He goes, "I didn't do anything wrong." And so I wish they could just look at replay, because then you'd actually see what happens. Another thing, everyone around the league, and I'm talking about the players, and apparently we had somebody do it, we mean the Steelers. If you are an ununiformed player, or you are not a player in the current play on the field, and you have an interception or you score, you cannot come off the bench or off the sidelines to go help your team celebrate. You need to know that, because talk about what the football moments, it cost your team 15 yards. So luckily we were at the end of the game. I still don't know who did it, but on the Steelers team, but you have to be mindful of that. It happened on several different teams where they end up losing the game because it gives them 15 yards on where they set up after the kickoff, when they come back. And so really, I hope the coaches are talking to their players and saying, hey, stop doing that, because that is not helping anybody. So those are little mental mistakes that are going to kill you in any close game, and you just can't have that being done. But when I look at what the Steelers defense has done, what the offensive line has done, and then I go and I take a poll of all of and I just look, I wanted to see how old is our team. With the exception of, again, Cam Hayward, our team is young. We've got our average age is 24 years, 8 months. I mean, this is a young team. So just the fact that, they have come back to even have a chance for postseason after being 2-6, the fact that they could hopefully make it where Mike Tomlin doesn't have a losing season for the first time in his career. And I'm telling you, this is just my opinion, but this is my public service announcement, or my point of view, my POV. If we can get to postseason and we can get to 9-8, Mike Tomlin should be coach of the year. That's all I'm saying. To get to that point with a rookie quarterback, with a quarterback that's had 2 concussion issues this season, being without Ben for the first year, having Mitch start, having to make the decision to bring in Kenny Pickett, and just the different personnel that we've had to go through. If that doesn't make for coach of the year, nothing does. So if we get to postseason, I hope that they throw his hat in the ring on that. All right, that's it for me for week 17. Again, I hope everyone has a great week. We can't wait for week 18, and make it a great day. Thank you for listening to the Steel City Underground podcast.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.